Good morning. Today we're talking about the fifth precept, which is I vow to refrain from intoxicants. And this is a really interesting one because, as we've talked about, these are not like moral judgments, but ethical questions on how to live our life, and we have to wrestle with them. Because the thing is traditionally the intoxicants are alcohol and some of the drugs that were available at the time. And so when you talk to most practitioners about I vow to refrain from intoxicants, most of what springs to mind is alcohol, marijuana, opioids, things like that. And the thing is these substances are not of themselves immoral. It is that what they can do to us can cause problems. So if we think about alcohol or other drugs that can cloud the mind, they can harm the body, and they can cause heedlessness. One of the things that differentiates this precept is that if we kind of fall short on this one, if we break it, if we indulge, especially overindulge in alcohol, marijuana, or other drugs, we are more likely to break the other precepts because our judgment and our impulse control are affected. And so again, this is not you will be smote from on high if you drink a beer. It's that if you indulge in these intoxicants and your thinking isn't as straight, you're more likely to mess up in other ways. You're more likely to cause harm to yourself. You're more likely to damage the relationships around you. So this is really about the effects that these substances have on you more than any particular substance being an immoral substance of itself. And there are other things that can be intoxicating, can cause heedlessness. So, like I said, traditionally, this is alcohol and other drugs, and that's where most people's minds go. But food can be an addiction and become such a kind of like pathological craving that people do kind of get heedless, and it can cloud the mind. Shopping, I've seen people get addicted to shopping and really ruin their lives with this lack of impulse control, where they run themselves or their families into debt. They have huge credit card debt. They lose their home. Sex can be very problematic in that way. People can get addicted to sex, use sex to numb themselves, blow up their life searching for the sexual gratification, cheating on a partner, or sleeping with people that are risky, or indulging in kind of sexually risky behaviors. I think I already talked about shopping. Gaming. As a teacher, I see students that spend 5, 6, 7 hours a night gaming. I have friends that have been addicted to gaming. I know that I have that part of my personality in me as well, and it can be the same thing, especially with these online transactions. People can become very addicted and very focused. And if you're sitting there gaming for 6, 7, 8 hours a day, this is not good for your body. It's going to hurt your body. Probably your nutritional and bathroom break schedule is not going to lend itself to health. You're not going to move around as much. And so people that tend to have these like really pathological gaming addictions, it does not tend to be good for them mentally or physically. And I mean, I think connected to that is gambling. So although an intoxicant can be, again, alcohol or other drugs, I think anything that can become an addiction, anything that can cloud your mind, anything that can impair your judgment, where you're damaging your life and the life of those people around you, is really problematic and is intoxicating. It is an intoxication. Caffeine is addictive. I love coffee. And so generally, though, we don't seem to apply that same moral kind of weight to coffee that gets applied to alcohol and marijuana and other opioids and other things. But it is an addiction, and it can lead to health problems if you drink too much of it consistently. Medications, though, that's another thing is medications are there to help us, but we know with like the opioid epidemics that happen sometimes that medications, when abused, cause problems. They cause addiction, they cause heedlessness, they cause damage to your body and to the relationships around you. So even medications can be abused, and leads it down this kind of road into kind of abuse of intoxicants. So when you start to wrestle with this, I refrain from intoxicants, everybody kind of needs to decide for themselves. I know some serious Buddhist practitioners that do indulge in an occasional beer. I don't. I choose not to drink, but that's not because of anything other than my preference and how I choose to engage with the precept. I know some very serious practitioners that do choose to indulge in marijuana sometimes. Again, I do not, but that's not necessarily, that's how I choose to wrestle with this. I think if someone is using medical marijuana and it's helpful for them, I don't have any moral judgment towards that person. I just think this is about, am I clouding the mind, damaging the body, and causing heedlessness where I'm damaging myself and the relationships I have with other people? Am I leading to the suffering of myself and those around me? Because that's the thing. How do I cause there to be less suffering in the world? So when we're wrestling with alcohol, drugs, food, sex, shopping, gaming, gambling, caffeine, medication, are we engaging in a way that is not leading to our suffering, the suffering of those around us? So I hope that this helps a little bit. If, just as kind of an ending note, if you are engaging in certain monastic communities, then it is a hard rule. There just are no intoxicants. Some do allow tea or coffee, and some don't, and they're just like nothing at all. And so if you're in a community, you do need to follow those rules. But if you are a lay practitioner, or you are in a community that doesn't have those hard and fast rules, obviously work with your teacher if you have one. Otherwise, this is the way that we wrestle with this precept of refraining from intoxicants. And again, I think if we look at not damaging ourselves and the people around us, not clouding the mind, harming the body, or causing heedlessness, I think that's a pretty good rule of thumb. I hope that this was thought-provoking, and I look forward to the next one.